Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Live Authentically with Krista. Thank you so much for being here. It's really early right now. It's like just after 4 a.m. I woke up from a dream, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back to sleep after that one, but I have a lot going through my mind right now, and I have just learned a lot. I have learned a lot about relationships. I've learned about friendships. I've learned how to be a better mom. I've learned like a lot through my short life. And I have learned that God has his hand in things, and what's meant to be will always find its way. But it really takes praying about things in order to have like God work on the situation. You know, one of my kiddos, we used to butt heads a lot. And it took the love of Jesus to restore our relationship. And it took time. And I remember when I was completely looking at that person in the wrong way. And then I started asking the Lord, okay, will you help me see them how you see them? Will you help me love them how you love them? And then my mind was just corrected. And I started loving them like where they were at. And through prayer, time, and dedication, that's what turned our relationship around. So now one of my kiddos and I, like, we're really, 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 really close. And I can only attest that to the Lord. It was him turning things around. And now it's interesting because this one particular child, they used to run from me. They used to run from me, but now they run to me. And they're like, I don't know if I could live without you, Mom. Like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I would be okay if you were ever gone, you know? So I just wanted to encourage you through this, that God can turn anything around. It just takes time and dedication and the Lord's help to do that. Now, here's what I've learned about relationships, because I've been in relationships before. And I know that God can turn anything around, but it takes a willingness from both people. And through what the Lord personally shows me and has shown me about people, is that dishonor shuts the door right away. Dishonor will always shut the door. And if one person is dishonoring the other person, that immediately it immediately stops all progress. And it isn't until the relationship is protected. It's when the relationship is protected and then you or the other person, like, you stop dishonoring each other, and then you actually honor one another. And when you both are honoring one another, that is what brings restoration around. But what needs to take place is for both of you to protect the relationship and to not allow anything or anyone to come in between you two. Because it's the other people that can be the problem. It's the other people that can be the problem, that can keep you from being together. Um, and when you want to be connected to that person, you have to remove what's hindering your progress. You have to remove what the problem is, and then actually focus on the relationship. But that can't take place until both people desire that relationship again, and where you're willing to protect it. You know, I've been like I've said, I've been in relationships before, and I recognize like a lot of things that the Lord wanted me to be corrected in. And one of those ways was being respectful. And the Lord speaks to me a lot through dreams about like even things that I do wrong and stuff, just to help me to show up better too. But I remember one time through one of my dreams, I was at a church and somebody was saying in the dream that I didn't to just go and make plans without my person knowing. And they were saying that it didn't matter what they said, basically. But then I remember in the dream saying, no, I need to care how he feels. I need to ask if he's okay with it first, you know? But in the dream, other people were just like undermining the situation, and as though like I didn't have to take him into consideration before I made those plans. So I really learned a lot through that it's respect. It's respect that needs to take place in consideration. And there are just some people in this world where they'll just think you don't have to respect your person, and they just be so nonchalant about stuff. But we as people can't be nonchalant about anything. You know, we truly have to care and to really protect our relationships with people. You know, doesn't matter what it is. Your relationship with your child, your relationship with your friend, the relationship with your spouse, future spouse. Like, it takes protecting the relationship. But if you or the other person doesn't protect the relationship, then other people can come in between it, and that can be frustrating. When one person doesn't protect the relationship. So then it's just like, Even if the Lord told you reconciliation was going to happen, that reconciliation can't take place until both people actually protect the relationship and turn away from whatever it is that they did before, you know? And it takes not giving up on each other. Here's something else I learned about life. That easy things don't last. They don't. It's like the counterfeit option. It's not healthy. And you can take that all the way to food. Like if we ate microwave food all of the time, our bodies are not going to be healthy because it's a quick option, right? If you always go for the quick option, the food, your body's going to be deprived of nutrients. But it's when you actually make that homemade food, you taking time to make that homemade food, that's what's going to add nutrition and value to your body so you're healthy. That's the same thing with relationships too. It takes time to build trust. And it takes a moment to displace that trust. But you gotta take the time and the dedication to rebuild that trust again if it's been broken. And something I have really been paying attention to is how much pride people have. Like, I was having a conversation with someone just a couple days ago, and she was very argumentative with me. And it was really depleting my energy. It was depleting my energy. And she just kept on going back and forth about something. And I was trying to help her understand, but I mean, I didn't do anything that was dishonorable, but I was just trying to help her understand. And then she was just like, it just seemed very argumentative about it. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, it just depleted my energy a lot. For we as people, we can't help people understand. Like you can't open someone's eyes to the truth unless the Lord opens it. But sometimes there are people that they choose to misunderstand you because they're not communicating with you. And that's the hard part about life is, I've been in that situation a lot where there's no communication. Or if there was communication, it was just by text message, and you can't build relationships based on text messages. You can't. You need to be in each other's presence. You need to talk, to see each other's face. And because here's what can happen is you can take what someone says by text message or just words on a screen. You can completely take them the wrong way. And then that person misunderstands you. And that's the painful part of life, is when people are just committed to misunderstanding you. But there's nothing that you can do about that, but just keep showing up and trying to be the loving person that you are. And we have to, we just have to learn wisdom in life too. And that no one's perfect. And that no one can hold you, like we as people, we can't hold each other to perfection. And I feel like there's just been some people in my life that they've held me to this really, really, really high standard as a person. And that's just not, it's not feasible. Like, you can't hold somebody to really, really high standards. You can't expect you out of the other person, and vice versa. And that you're not going to check the box. Like, every single box of yours isn't going to be checked, you know? And if this is making sense, it doesn't matter if it's a friend. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. Like, that person is not going to be 100% perfect. They're not. Because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. But anyways, I'm just saying, like, you can't hold people to the highest standard and think that they're not ever going to make a mistake, because we're people. We make mistakes. We say the wrong thing. We say the wrong thing when we're in our emotions. We get upset when we're dishonored. And when we're dishonored, we say the wrong thing sometimes because we get emotionally led. And that's what we have to learn as people, as that our emotions are raw and real, and that they do matter. They should be validated. But here's something that I always and will forever promote. I will always promote forgiveness. To forgive over and over and over again. I always promote grace, love, and mercy. Always. I will always and forever promote that. Wherever I'm at, whoever I'm talking to, forgive. Forgive, because you don't know what that person's going through behind closed doors. And unless you were fully walking that person's shoes, you wouldn't understand why they showed up that way. You wouldn't understand the amount of pressure that someone's under and why people show up the way they do sometimes. Because life is hard. Life is hard. You know, I reflect a lot in life, and I pay attention to how people are. I'm a huge noticer. I notice when something's off. I notice when the tone changes. I notice when people's lack of effort goes away. Like, I notice a lot of things about people. Even in stores, like when I'm shopping. If I see someone's just demeanor, like their facial expressions, whether they're sad, whether they're angry, whether they're depressed, you know, like when they're going through something. And I look at that person and I realize that they're human just like I am, and that we all need to be shown respect and love, because love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is what turns situations around. Love is what, if somebody is stressed or frustrated or angry, loving them will soften them. Love is the answer. It turns the situation around. When you commit to loving that person and showing up and being an honorable person, that love will transform that person's heart and their life, because love is what heals. And love is what healed my relationship with one of my kiddos. It was love that transformed the relationship. So love is the answer. I wasn't planning on making this long a video, but wow. Anyways, so this is just me reflecting on life, and that God can turn any situation around with a friend or a relationship. But it takes not giving up on that person. It takes looking at that person and realizing that they're human and that they make mistakes too. And sometimes their mistakes came from a place of being unhealed, or that they were hurt. Because hurt people really will hurt people. This is what I've learned in life. And it's what you do with that hurt that matters. You can either run from the situation because of that hurt, or you could learn from it. You can forgive each other and start fresh and just take accountability of the situation. Because it's the accountability and it's the lack of communication that really starves the relationship. You know, communication is your lifeline. Doesn't matter what relationship it is. Communication is the lifeline and what brings life back into the situation. And it takes, it just takes owning up to your mistakes and apologizing. We as people, we gotta apologize over and over and over again. You know, sometimes I watch videos online and I'll see these old people together, and then, you know, or I'll watch interviews of like, how are you two together still? You're old in age. And I would hear them say, forgiveness. Forgiving each other over and over and over again. That is the key to not giving up on someone, is forgiveness. And vulnerability. Oh my goodness, vulnerability is so important, because your feelings matter. I know for me, just putting myself into any situation, I know that my feelings matter. They deserve to be validated. And I want people, you know, if I'm in a relationship, even like my future marriage, like I would want him to care about how I feel, to care about what I say, and to take consideration of me before he does anything. And that would have to go the other way too. Like I would have to take him into consideration too. But here's something else. It says in the Word of God in Ecclesiastes 4:9 that two are better than one, and that they can actually defend each other. So you can defend each other in relationships. You can protect one another. And here's something else that can happen. When you are having a bad day, you can go and encourage that person and build them up. Because that's what needs to take place, is to protect the relationship and to not tear each other down. But to actually build each other up and encourage each other. Because life is hard. And the devil likes to bring division between relationships. So you got to pay attention to that too. Is that the devil truly does like to divide us. So, all right, well, that's the message. I hope that you found value. And I'm going to see if I can go back to sleep because I just don't do well if I'm not getting a lot of sleep. But the only reason why I'm up is because I had a dream. And this is just a dream that couldn't go back to sleep after. But I'm going to go and pray and see if the Lord will allow me to go back to sleep. But I just wanted to make this video just to share life with you, to share what I've learned on my short life on this earth about relationships, about just about life. And that life is really hard sometimes. But we got to encourage each other and lift each other up because sometimes we're going to have a bad day. We're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to do the wrong thing. But you know what's great? Is if you have someone who's willing to help you through those things, who's willing to help you through whatever you're going through, to encourage you with your feelings, to try to understand your feelings. And when you got two people showing up that way, where you're being vulnerable and you're talking about your feelings, you can learn so much just through gentleness and through communicating. And once you both know how you feel, that's where you can take that and you can help each other through it and try to understand each other's feelings. So, and also that God is the God of reconciliation and that He can turn anything around. I just wanted to share that short little testimony of one of my kiddos that, it was like a resentful situation too, like that's how bad it got. But here's what God did. He turned it around. And so now our relationship is stronger than it ever has been. And that's because I was dedicated to praying for that person. I was dedicated to praying. I was dedicated to showing up for them. I was dedicated for meeting them where they were at and loving them through what they were personally going through. And it was my love, the love of Jesus, that completely transformed it around. So, love is the answer. All right, y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all next time as I feel led, but I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to sleep, so I just figured I'd come on here and make a video. And if you find value with this, like the video, comment below, subscribe if you want to stay connected. But I'm here to just be vulnerable. I'm here to share life. And I do believe that we all have a voice and that our voices matter. And our testimonies And the things that we share can really help people. It can really help people. I was just having a conversation yesterday with someone that I had led to the Lord. And I was telling him about how I used to feel as a person without Jesus. I was telling him, if I'm not looking at Jesus, I feel very unworthy as a person sometimes. Like, I feel unworthy. I feel very, very messy in my heart. And I feel so weak as a person. But when I'm seeking the Lord and I'm asking Him to help me and transform me, I feel really strong then. And He's like, I wouldn't have believed you unless you said that. Or like, I wouldn't have, because he was in his own situation where he was just feeling really weak and not valued and everything messing in his heart. And once I led him to the Lord, then I was just saying that this is how life is for me. When I'm not seeking the Lord, I'm messy. I'm messy. I show up the wrong ways. And I feel really unworthy as a person. And I feel really, really weak. But when I am seeking the Lord, He makes me feel strong. I feel more confident. And I feel whole inside. Because that's what Jesus does. He transforms you. He heals you. He softens you. And then you just have peace. So, all right. Y'all have a great day, whatever time that it is that you watch this. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for being here.